Hello, welcome back. Today, we're revealing 11 incredible psychological. Prepare yourself with these 97% of women's facts that will alter your perspective on the world. Men are rejected and unaware of these secrets, but guess what? You can. By being aware of these facts, ladies, you can join the exceptional 5% who genuinely stand out. Knowing these facts about yourself will make you magnetic and alluring before we get started, and it's not just for the guys. If you're eager to learn these secrets, could you please do me a favor right now? Smash. By clicking that like button, we can provide you with more potent Stoic advice, and if you haven't already, please ring the bell and click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our most recent videos. This is entertaining. If you enjoy this subject, please leave a remark if you believe we can enhance Type 0 and inform us on how we can dive into these amazing revelations that will change your perspective on women and the psychology of relationships. The first fact is that, according to one, women fall in love because of the scent. Research shows that a woman is more likely to fall in love with a man if she likes his scent. Her affection for him has grown by 85%, according to the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, while women have 50% more. They have more sensory neurons in their olfactory bulb than men have. Seekers, knowing how to pick the right scent, can provide you with a major edge in. Keep watching the movie until the very end to discover which scents arouse your senses. The second most psychological truth about women: prefer guys who get their way, and a woman who goes too far with a man will most likely cause her to be rejected. But if you appreciate her and show her a little neediness, she will make herself accessible, build trust with her, and don't hesitate to touch it. It's crucial to constantly study her body language and identify any signs or movements The third psychological fact is that women experience emotions when they are close to, but keep it to yourself. If a woman piques your attention, don't become her. According to one study, 68% of women stated that they were friends from the first moment they met her. If they understood they could have what they wanted, they might think about falling in love with a man. For this reason, I advise making. If you inquire in the beginning, it's obvious, albeit subtle, that you like her. In the comments, I'll explain the psychological truth of number 4 women. When other women express interest in guys, they find them, according to a pre-selected phenomenon, that is comparable to womanizing. 3 times more attractive. This also happens when a bunch of ladies encircle a man. Thus, I advise forming friendships with women and going out with them to observe according to how women see you. These pals don't need to care about you beyond keeping you company and fostering that pre-election effect that will make it easier for you to flirt with other ladies and boost their interest in you. Fifth psychological reality about the lady you like: if she makes fun of you, she is. If a woman calls you names and makes fun of you, she is probably drawn to you and engages in light-hearted behavior to win your confidence. Women frequently display their bodies when they fall in love. So if you are genuinely, I suggest that you assist her, as I'm intrigued by her words and fun taunting. Attain her objective by showing interest in her cooperation is one approach to taking advantage of her game. You can say "I know" to her to get what she wants to hear. Do you think I've noticed something psychological about the way you call me that because you like it? The sixth fact is that women prefer guys who speak their language. Recognize their body language, whether intentionally or inadvertently, as not all males. Women are bashful, yet men can comprehend them or the language they use to fall in love, and are reluctant to show their love for you since they detest being rejected and will refrain from. At all costs, women don't even think about the potential of a man turning them down, so they show their emotions through body language. If a lady purposefully makes a gesture to win your heart, she wants you to. If she notices that you don't comprehend what she's trying to say, do the same. She might ignore the signal and forget about it, asking me for the next information in the comments, which is an intriguing psychological tactic. The seventh psychological fact. When it comes to personal activities, women are particularly worried about how they seem. Preserving their attractiveness in terms of the style and hue of their undergarments, rather than keeping quiet and praising her for her beauty while participating in. You'll see in intimate activities that giving her an ego boost like this makes her more likely to dress in more attractive and striking attire to inspire you. The eighth psychological reality is that she will see you again. A lady feels more sensations when a man communicates with her. If you can improve a woman's contentment with intimate relationships by understanding the psychological complexity of her thinking activities, since women function more mentally and through their senses than males do and are less physically strong. Suggest using subcommunication and being less direct in order to establish a connection with them. Spend some time with her before trying anything together, and urge her to communicate her feelings and give her the impression that you fully understand her. She would love you more if you follow, but you have to be really. The ninth cautious psychological reality is that women love their. Some ladies cherish their dearest friends more than their partners. It has been shown that when a lady leaves her partner, her friends feel more affected than the boyfriend. When she gets ready for a meeting with a buddy at home, her thinking becomes more sensitive. Assured that her buddy will support her emotionally and not pass judgment on her when they confuse their friend's happiness for love. Thus, it's preferable to keep your girl away from dependable pals because they may betray you. Women only accept dates for food, according to psychological truth number 10, at any moment. American polls show that 38% of women agree to go on dates for free. Cuisine that emphasizes how difficult it is to figure out why a lady accepts a date. Make sure a girl is truly interested in you before asking her out. Ask me in the comments below to find out whether a female likes you, and I'll tell you the 11th psychological fact at the conclusion of this video when ladies are angry and would rather you approach them. If you listen to a lady who is angry with you, she will feel better. Demonstrate empathy to comprehend her distress. Women are challenging at times, but despite having the capacity to feel emotions from birth, they lack the same emotional steadiness. Women are often stimulated by men's good and negative emotions, which leads to them falling. I'll go into more detail about this later, but for now, go given the first psychological reality, which is that women are at ease with the emotional games they like to perform. In order to stimulate women, we offer a variety of widely used fragrant essentials. In a 2017 study, lavender and jasmine were evaluated on one set of women and 2 groups of men, each spent time with 2 individually. One man wore a perfume devoid of these 2 scents, whereas the another person was wearing a perfume with a jasmine scent. Encourage women and heighten their interest in perfumes. These scents are available in a number of commercially available fragrances, such as the well-known French Orphan and the Pays Basque Eclectic. I appreciate you watching the entire video. Like, subscribe, and comment on the erratic tales that lie behind every grin. Is a story, but can you determine whether it's real or a ruse? Storytellers whose tales go off course. The narrative of fraudulent individuals are often contradictory. Exposing a people's facades are difficult to maintain since they are ever-changing like chameleons. Their storylines often shift to fit the circumstances or the audience. Significantly over time, as individuals lose track of the specifics of their fabrications or discover fresh narratives that more effectively address this discrepancy. Is a purposeful tactic intended to influence or impress people rather than a defect. Inconsistent narratives reveal a lack of genuineness. Real people with genuine. Even if they could forget small details of their lives, experiences don't have to. Stories are reliable, but phony individuals usually end up caught up in a web of lies as they attempt to remember their different tales. As when disparities grow more noticeable, this conduct can particularly harm individuals. Giving contradictory accounts can damage confidence in both personal and professional relationships. How can you trust someone with your professional future if you can't trust them to be honest with you about their past? Situations. These discrepancies may result in a poisonous work atmosphere, in whereby supervisors are unable to make solid decisions and colleagues are unable to rely on one another. Identifying such individuals necessitates closely observing their speech patterns over time. There may be inconsistent behavior, but being vigilant is not the same as being paranoid, but about safeguarding oneself from potential deceit or manipulation. Challenge the story, and in certain situations, seeking clarification or further information can disclose a lie, since the individual can find it difficult to keep up the front while it's being scrutinized. Fake people with shallow connections are just the tip of the iceberg. Favor width above depth. They rarely establish deep connections in their interactions, and they have a lot of acquaintances as opposed to actual friends. These connections are founded on what, instead of true care and respect for one another, others can offer surface-level relationships that are. These social environment navigation techniques are characterized by a lack of depth and comprehension. People don't invest the time and emotional energy necessary to build connections that are shallow and false. Sincere relationships, even though they know a lot of people, their understanding of them is frequently restricted to the most fundamental information, including names and work descriptions. There is no sharing of personal hardships, in-depth discussions of aspirations, or sincere connection. This method of engagement is essentially selfish. Fake people engage with others only to obtain advantages in their careers, social standing, or other benefits, constantly switching between groups in search of the most favorable association. They fail to recognize the actual worth of genuine, long-lasting partnerships that offer comfort during trying circumstances and happiness during prosperous times. Such flimsy relationships with these fake individuals can have a negative impact on those who develop them, making them feel taken advantage of. And being surrounded by unappreciated individuals can result in a lonely life. They could find themselves surrounded by people yet lacking true support and camaraderie. Relationship with any of them. Spot such shallowness by looking trends in the way people talk about their relationships. Do they only talk about what other people can do for them? Changing social groups regularly is a practice that is often observed in both personal and professional contexts. Excessive flattery can produce a conceal genuine intentions or provide the wrong impression of trust. It could be a ruse to favor or divert attention from a lack of professionalism or dedication situations. This behavior is dangerous since it can be deceptive and manipulative, creating an environment where vacuous rhetoric trumps actual skill and effort, and individuals who often overly flattering and lacking in sincerity in other aspects of their lives. They could be perceived as connections in a different way, considering them to be more transactional than reciprocal relationships, which may result in a shallow social circle where individuals are judged according to their learning to differentiate between their skills rather than their personalities. Knowing the difference between flattery and sincere appreciation is essential for handling such genuine, sincere compliments. Usually focus on specific achievements or attributes, and are, in contrast, flattery often comes out as ambiguous when provided without expectation. Overstated or unconnected to real achievements, comprehending these distinguishing characteristics can assist in identifying those who employ excessive flattery as a deceitful strategy. Another problem is that an empty heart sometimes cannot sympathize with dishonest individuals, exhibit a lack of sincere care and compassion for other people. Lack of empathy is regarded as a serious warning sign for people who are unable or unwilling to emotionally connect with others, often disregard their needs and feelings in favor of their wants and objectives. A person's lack of empathy can manifest itself in a number of ways, including appear in their unwillingness to acknowledge the struggles of others or their incapacity to properly enjoy their accomplishments, may disregard the emotional health of others in their immediate vicinity, or, in severe situations, decline to offer assistance. Empathy may result in destructive or manipulative actions toward the person, disregarding or not caring about how their actions would affect other people. This trait is particularly detrimental in interpersonal or professional contexts. A lack of empathy can inhibit the development of genuine, deep ties, leading to one-sided relationships where the interests and feelings of one person are continuously disregarded or underestimated in professional situations. It may result in an antagonistic and uncooperative atmosphere among co-workers and employees, may experience feelings of undervaluation and misunderstanding. Recognizing a lack of empathy necessitates examining how people respond to circumstances. Do they show sincere care when others are distressed, or do they exhibit sorrow when they are unable to praise the accomplishments of others without making it about themselves? Answering these questions can demonstrate patience and empathy in trying circumstances. Assist in determining whether someone lacks empathy, which is a prerequisite for true manipulative behavior. Strings are for puppets, not real people, and good partnerships. People usually take advantage of others for their own benefit, disregarding their feelings. This deceptive behavior is a purposeful tactic for individuals in their immediate vicinity to manipulating or swaying others to accomplish one's objectives, and it can take many different forms, from subtle emotional. Such behavior is essentially selfish, ranging from manipulation to open exploitation. It demonstrates utter contempt for the liberty and well-being of others. Manipulators usually have a strong knowledge of human psychology and apply it to their benefit. They could utilize. This manipulation involves using coercion, charm, guilt, or deceit to accomplish their objectives. Can be especially risky since it often stays unreported until serious injuries have been sustained by victims of manipulation, may experience bewilderment, guilt, or even blame for the manipulators. In partnerships, manipulative behavior can produce a poisonous dynamic, wherein one individual is continuously under pressure to fulfill the demands of the other or expectations that could result in a decline in self-worth. Identifying and controlling emotional distress and anxiety in work environments, along with managing manipulative behavior, is essential to upholding appropriate deference and genuineness by being aware of these strategies and adopting preventative actions. Partnerships that are founded on respect for one another and sincere comprehension is becoming more prevalent than deceit and manipulation. Those who only show up during prosperous times and vanish during this trend of repeated disappearances during challenging times suggests favorable weather. A friend or co-worker who is solely interested in the ride rather than the destination is quick to commemorate group accomplishments or happy events, but are conspicuously lacking during adversity. This behavior's harm extends beyond its absence. Additionally, the development of a false sense of reliability in those who regularly vanish and violate the confidence placed in them, abandoning friends, family, and co-workers who feel abandoned, and feelings of betrayal and loneliness can result from partnerships when people are not supported. When the person understands that their relationship was founded on favorable professional circumstances, it can. Because these people are ineffective, they disturb team dynamics and obstruct progress. To assist in stressful situations or when it's hard to find such people calls for meticulous object observation of trends over time, and it's critical to identify those who are present when success occurs, or celebration, and who stays dependable and faithful when circumstances become challenging, as evidenced by hardship rather than ease. Broken promises, and a fortress based on promises is not founded on anything that is easily made up by dishonest individuals. Agreements, but this propensity to breach them is rarely fulfilled, shows a lack of reliability and integrity. Hence, making a promise is giving one's word and then breaking it is disrespectful to both it destroys broken relationships and erodes trust between the recipient and oneself. Whether made for personal or professional reasons, promises have long-term effects. Disappointment and persistently breaching commitments can result in a decline in respect and credibility in personal relationships, resulting in emotional anguish, a climate of ambiguity, and insecure behavior in work environments damages one's reputation and could endanger career prospects. Connections with co-workers. When working with individuals that have a tendency to violate commitments, it is essential to build distinct standards and limitations that make them accountable for their commitments, which occasionally lead to a shift in behavior for the sake of self-defense. Avoiding the possible drawbacks of unreliability is also essential, which indicates that relying too much on promises and excessive self-promotion is another problem in their universe, is that phony people are always in the spotlight. Self-centered and attention-seeking, hence they frequently over-promote themselves, originates not from confidence, but from a strong need for approval and adoration. With a strong feeling of self, these individuals usually have an exaggerated perception of significance and feel they should always be acknowledged and commended. For this disruptive behavior can occur in both personal and professional contexts. If one person's needs and achievements come before everyone else's, personal connections may not be balanced. In the workplace, it can create a poisonous atmosphere when cooperation and teamwork are compromised by one person. A person's will to stand out at whatever costs. Acknowledging excessive self-promotion demands attention to how people talk about themselves and their achievements. Do they frequently take center stage in discussions? Do they embellish or make up information in their achievement stories to make them seem more noteworthy or successful? These trends may be an indication of inauthenticity, unreliable instincts, and borderline self-promotional conduct. Trust your gut more often, because our guts can sense sincerity before although minds can explain it, this instinctive sense is a useful tool for identifying. Our subconscious is able to pick up on minor clues and discrepancies that though the conscious mind may dismiss or justify it, it's crucial to keep in mind that while our intuition are not always accurate, our prejudices and prior experiences can influence them. Therefore, even though it's crucial to follow your gut, they must be coupled with observation and logical reasoning. If you have a gut feeling that someone is dishonest, take a step back and honestly watch how they behave, looking for trends and proof that confirm or refute your unreliable intuition can mislead us, particularly in complex situations. Socio-cultural contexts in which our prejudices and assumptions are significant. Being conscious of our prejudices and growing in self-awareness can help us improve. Finally, we should trust our instincts because they are a helpful tool, for when assessing the sincerity of people in our immediate vicinity, they ought to be utilized in conjunction with logical reasoning and observation. By doing this, we can get a more accurate and sophisticated understanding of the individuals with whom we contact. Alongside enabling us to establish more sincere and significant connections, realizing inauthenticity is crucial. While we negotiate the intricacies of interpersonal relationships, keep in mind that sincere awareness and wisdom are necessary for connections. Thus, we looked into the essential traits that expose the actual character of people around us, from the contradictions in their accounts to the untrustworthiness of commitments. Every sign is a road marker on this voyage, but the search is far from over. Here, our channel seeks to give you information and insights to assist you. Learn more about human interactions and behavior by joining a community devoted to Don't Stop the Adventure with a subscription to authentic living and personal growth. If you thought these ideas were helpful, please hit the like button and button. Please share your experiences and subscribe for more informative information. Your story's comments section may serve as a lighthouse that leads others to clarity. Let's get to work. Together to create a more genuine reality, keep in mind that your instincts are your guide, and the secret to a successful relationship is a willingness to learn. Sign up and subscribe. Every click, share, and subscription helps us reach more individuals on this ongoing exploration adventure and disseminate information that has the power to transform lives. Thank you for viewing, and keep in mind that your biggest strength is your sincerity in a world full of facades. Your relationships will flourish in the light of truth if you embrace and cultivate it. The more you express your suffering, even though it doesn't always happen, more people will desire to harm you. Sadly, sadism and envy are widespread, and it's normal for some people to take pleasure in your suffering or even to contribute to it. Actions that can hinder personal development in a number of contexts, such as the workplace, social circles, and even families. Hence, learning to hide your flaws can make you into a tree during a storm. The trunk stays securely in place, while the fluttering leaves and swaying branches represent silent resilience. We'll discuss how you might increase your authority by proving that you are not impacted by outside or internal problems, and how every obstacle makes you more like the tree. You are not pretend that nothing is bothering you in order to ignore the storm. Instead, you choose. You will learn to be in control of your life and not allow the wind or rain depress you. This movie will examine 17 destiny firms that are tranquil and strong. Epicurus is a well-known philosopher whose Stoic principles you have undoubtedly heard of. I also extend an invitation to self-awareness, where the silence of the path's illumination by light instead of the thunder's boom consequently, focus on the substance rather than the daily schedule in the upcoming minutes. The first guideline is to be ready to fail, since the only way to push beyond distractions is he has a distinct way of doing the impossible in order to avoid being called a fool. Viewpoint, in line with his worldview. Being called a fool is one of your greatest opportunities, since it enables you to grow professionally. The Stoic philosopher serves as a reminder that success comes from a protracted process of trial and error, rather than an impulsive response. We can refine what distinguishes us from excellence by trial, and the second rule of error is to keep in mind that death is at the end of the path. This guidance does not advocate for pessimism. Rather, it highlights because all of our acts, even our own, ultimately lead to death. After keeping this in mind, we may decide if it is worth using the last 20 years of our finite life. Savings to purchase a home that is so heavy that we are unable to move it with us when we pass away. Would be quite advantageous to include a little notebook with these Stoic ideas in our luggage. In addition to the items that we view as essential to our everyday existence, such credit cards and phones cards and toothbrushes, we won't view failures as bad luck or life as the internal time we have at our disposal, but we will acquire a more practical understanding of our lives and unquestionably spend our time more effectively. The third rule is to listen twice. Think about why nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth as much as you speak. Epicus asserts that this is a fact rather than a mistake or a coincidence, has a certain function. We are not supposed to become enamored with our own voices. Progress in life by listening to other people's perspectives instead than our own. Duplicating our own remarks, therefore make an effort to focus more on what those around you and less focus on the principles you have been following thus far. The fourth rule is always to be anticipate the worst and assume that we will encounter adverse situations. This will be one of the main sources of fear in the future, with disastrous repercussions. We fear that our spouse will confess, we will lose our jobs, or our kids will quit school. Tell us that they will file for divorce because they have been having an affair with someone else, or that something else negative would occur to us, like bankruptcy. The issue is that we are concerned about one of these problems eventually make life's journey pleasant and content. Components for us and a few inevitable issues, thus we are. Throughout the day, numerous stimuli cause persistent stress, which is where Epicus enters, saying that his approach is both extreme and effective. Since all of your fears have already materialized, what could possibly go wrong? The fifth rule is to come up with coping mechanisms to move on. Your spirit will increase. Moving on with a positive attitude while being mindful of the dangers posed by fortune. The wealth we pursue carries a stigma that few individuals can overcome, and it's not just about those who will show up out of the blue to exploit others. The danger to our good fortune is that money may manipulate individuals by acting as though it cares about them, which is not necessarily for the better. But now that we have this coveted resource, we are left feeling guilty over something we didn't anticipate, and guilt is like the disease. Our spirit could start poisoning itself as a result of what we went through, and guilt is the ordinary people blame the sixth rule, which is associated with narrow-mindedness. Today's wise people watch everything, even themselves. Therapists are considering guilt as a sensation that must be eliminated from our lives. Avoiding playing with guilt is the key to winning the battle with it. The issue is that it creates an easy route, since we assign whole responsibility to others or to ourselves, relieving ourselves of the "it is challenging to accept responsibility for fixing the error." Only those with a strong will to succeed can resist temptation. Avoid feeling guilty while taking ownership of their acts in accordance with the seventh rule. The Epictetus developed his idea of wealth as existing in a happy spirit. One of his well-known lines, "A wise man," demonstrates how Stoicism can lead to happiness. Rejoices that this contemplation is more than his shortcomings, rather of worrying about them. It's merely a suggestion on how to avoid feeling overburdened by wealth, that we do not yet have when we permit ourselves to lament and grieve. We lose out on priceless moments of happiness when we could be, because of what we lack. Thankful for all that we have done so far, which goes beyond what our eyes are conditioned to perceive as the eighth rule, is to live a humble life if you wish to practice learning something. A person must develop humility in their daily lives, even if they believe they already understand that Epictetus's saying exhorts us to exercise humility, especially in learning throughout life, and boasting about what we know sets us apart from the authentic understanding that results from realizing how ignorant we are of the things we wish to learn. We'll approach things from the viewpoint of a youngster who shares the same capacity for wonder and curiosity. Remembering that your actions dictate your destiny is one of the 9 rules. Should not undervalue our responses, since they will dictate our success or failure, explained Epictetus. That although we cannot control our circumstances, we can control fortune can strike anyone, but depending on how we react, some people may view it as we must keep in mind this wonderful chance to start down a path of self-directed development, that our actions are more significant than our circumstances, And the 10th guideline is to build partnerships with successful people. It's odd how we are immediately overcome with fear when someone sneezes close to us. Will infect us, but we're not as careful to prevent negative. The Epictetus advised us to surround ourselves with individuals who are wise, who motivate us to strive for excellence, since human conduct has a big influence on our mental well-being. Certain individuals sap our vitality and spoil our days, while others make us joyful and energized. Thus, it's one of the best choices we can make for ourselves. Those who make us feel wonderful while bidding farewell to those who might make us regret our birth. The 11 rule. Why should we live frugally when we may invest in simplicity today? Surrounding ourselves with a range of luxury goods is the answer, and it's much easier and more sensible than you may think. Cannot support itself. It needs commitment and a lot of continuous effort. To maintaining this system allows us to enjoy money and luxury, but living just removes the burden of having to deal with due dates for credit card payments, loans, and bills. The 12 rule is always to fulfill your responsibilities. Each of us plays an important part in society. The sun doesn't need compliments or enchantments to awaken every morning. This occurs every day and is precisely what nature's role requires. We have to carry out our obligations, or, if we wait for recognition before acting, we run the risk of failing the environment and ourselves. While working, we forget the task at hand and the reality that others rely on it. Have a moral duty to complete it without waiting for reminders. Stop worrying about things you can't control according to the 13 rule. Although you have authority over your thoughts, you do not have authority over your reputation. Zeal and drive to hunt, yet you are powerless to manage the quantity of goods you possess. Or Epictetus thinks that worrying and being upset about things that are beyond of our control is a waste of time, regardless of how successful you are, that the values we have control over must be fostered. It is also our duty to let go of things that are out of our control and let fate handle them. The 14th guideline is to ignore those who hate you, but instead of hating them, don't hate those who hate you. Lot more significant and potent than the individual berating or hating you. Don't waste your time disliking someone who discriminates against you because they don't even deserve to be in your life. Your opinions, we are urged to not be scared of those who would hurt us, because their loudness isn't the 15 rule is always derived from an unlucky attempt to do so. Thus we should disregard it and develop immunity. Benefit from whatever occurs. The decision to take advantage of it or not is completely yours. These were incredible. As you can see from Titus's statements, it's not just possible to make the most of difficulty, but it is also our duty to ensure your success since you possess intelligence and are able to identify the opportunities that the situations. Picture showing up for work one day only to be told that you're going to be fired rather than feeling hopeless and using the excuse that the universe is against you. Venture into the business of your dreams. While completing your work schedule at the same time, always attempt to find. The good thing about this circumstance is that the momentum accumulated during you will surely surpass the 16 rule in life if you let the common. You cede control of your life to anyone who can irritate you by allowing their thoughts and behaviors to bother you, becomes your master. They can only accomplish this if you let them bother you. They realize that we possess a variety of keys, some of which lead to emotional well-being and others to happiness. Disaster, and we provide this final key to people who irritate us the most. The answer is to erect a barrier that keeps us from being influenced by other people's opinions, because every individual owns their words and chooses to abide by the 17 rules. Genuine friendships are more valuable than material possessions because when our financial luck fails, they will help us by fostering sincere through friendships. We can make a wise long-term investment that will be very helpful in day-to-day living. Since philosophy is not for everyone, principles can help us get through challenging times with interest and fortitude. Imagination aside, in order to put what we've learnt into practice and proceed, the timeless. The wisdom of Epicurus provides us with priceless direction for living a more fulfilling life. And robust life. By assimilating these ideas, we can deal with life's difficulties with grace and purpose. I hope this examination of I would like to know which of Epictetus's life principles you found most meaningful. Do you have any personal experiences or ideas about these principles that you would like to share with others? I read every comment, so please share your opinions in the space provided below. If you're new to the channel, please like. Additionally, subscribing enables us to continue providing you with valuable content like this and aids in the channel's growth. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to press the notification bell to ensure you don't miss any updates. Use these guidelines every day to have a more robust and satisfying journey.